Hello, Tar Heel Nation. Welcome back to another episode of UNC Hoops Talk podcast. I am your host, Dan DeWitt, of course, and we're back from Brooklyn, New York, where the ACC tournament's being played. Not as pleasant to be talking today, of course, coming off of a big, not a big loss, but a heartbreaking loss. Game that I think we could have won in the semifinals to Duke, of course. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about the game today. Well, hopefully not too much time. I don't want to talk about it any more than you, but it's something we do need to discuss and kind of get it off our chest if we can, and move on, of course, to the NCAA tournament, which we'll also get into here. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys again, as I always try to do. If I don't, I always mean to. But thank you for listening, for sharing, interacting with the content and with the podcast with me. If you are not connected with me in some way, all of the links are in the description of wherever you're listening or watching the podcast. Would appreciate and love to talk. I talk Tar Heel basketball anytime, any place with anyone. And my goal here is just to unite Tar Heel Nation, not making money off of this or anything like that. Had this awesome opportunity to be at the ACC tournament, to work as an ambassador and to work with New York Life, covering the Heels and breaking down the games for you guys and giving you guys hopefully some great content that you guys have enjoyed. There's a link to the interview with Seth Greenberg that I did. Go check that out on YouTube, or I put it up on the podcast feed on iTunes and all the podcasts apps as well. So go check it out. Seth had some interesting things to say about the Tar Heels as it pertained to the Duke game, which won't matter anymore, but even looking forward to who should come back next year, who, and even further into the future for the Tar Heel program. But yeah, check that out. I'm recording this from my hotel room, obviously you can tell, but I'm recording it on Saturday morning, right after the Heels have lost. I have been out of bed, so it's okay. You don't have to worry about me there. But got an interview with Rick Barry coming up this afternoon. I don't know how much content from the actual championship game I'm going to put out, but I'm going to hopefully go find some fans to talk to at the stadium today. Like I said, Rick Barry interview. If you have questions for Rick Barry before Saturday, late afternoon, evening, send them to me on Twitter, email, whatever. Love to have your guys' questions in there as well, included, and I'll ask as many as I can get to in the time that I have to interview him. But again, thanks for all the support. Thanks to New York Life for making this happen. But yeah, that's enough about that. We got to jump into these games. Or this game, I guess. We only have one game. And yeah, my first live Duke Carolina game obviously didn't come out the way it was supposed to. It was heartbreaking. First half, let's start with the first half here. We started off good. We got it into Kennedy. He had like 8 points really quickly in this game. And we weren't playing great defense, but our offense was just clicking and we were going. And we had 49 points at halftime. That's usually a really good sign for us. The bad part is they had 42. We had the lead up to 12 at one point. And again, just like yesterday, we let them go on a little run to end the half. And it was 42-49, I think, cut it down to 7. I think it was, probably 11, maybe 12 before that run even happened. Tatum had a pretty big first half. And I had mentioned in the previous podcast that he had big second halves. This time he had, 18 or something in the first half. Grayson Allen went off in the first half. He was 4 for 4 from three-point line with 12 points at halftime. We actually had Luke Kennard. I think he had 5 points at halftime. He hadn't done much. But yeah, I told you guys we needed a rebound. We needed to run them off the three-point line and not foul. And the first half, we rebounded pretty good. We pounded inside like we needed to. Gave up too many threes. Obviously, Grayson Allen hitting 4 of them is not a good first half for us defensively. I think Frank Jackson had one, maybe two in the first half. No, I think he had one in the second. So he must have had just one in the first half. But yeah, just too many there. Too many points to Tatum. I told you guys we needed to shut down Tatum. One of Tatum and Kennard. We shut down Kennard in the first half. Like I said, we had a lead. We were doing well. We weren't shooting the ball well. We were getting it inside. We were taking advantage. Kennedy had a big first half. Isaiah was doing pretty good in the first half. Tony Bradley had 4 in the first half. And, things were going. We were clicking. Second half came out and Kennard started going. And it wasn't right away in the first half, but we got into a little bit of foul trouble. And then obviously Joel Berry picking up his 4th foul was huge. Refs were not great. I think Duke had some bad calls against them. I know people have said, like, how can Coach K question every foul that's called on them when we're getting so many bad calls against us? But I think they had some bad calls against them as well, so it wasn't completely one-sided. It was 28-20 as the final count for personal fouls. We had 28, they had 20. But yeah, we did get definitely called for some cheap ones, some chippy ones. My biggest complaint with the refs is the way that Emil Jefferson is able to hedge a screen and bump Joel, bump Nate, bump whoever's got the ball away from the basket and not get called for any fouls. And Frank Jackson can sit there on the offensive end, dribble and push a guy back with his hand, not get for any calls. And then Joel got probably a couple that were pretty chippy, wouldn't normally be called a foul, especially if you're not calling this stuff at the other end. Justin Jackson had a fast break layup where Grayson Allen came and swatted and definitely hit him. And I don't think it has to be called a foul there, but when you're calling that stuff against us, that does need to be called a foul. That would have affected them a little bit more with foul trouble. And then the turning point of the game, well, I mean, obviously Joel getting a 4th foul, having to sit for so long is a turning point, but that's kind of he's just got to be smarter in, adjust to how the refs are calling the game and how he reacted. He did not react good, and maybe it's fair because they were bad calls or whatever, but even if they're bad calls, you just can't react the way he did. It takes you off your game. The other team sees that and gets energy from it, and then obviously it took him out of the game literally for a big stretch of the game. He went out, with 13, 14, 15, somewhere in there minutes left in the game. And, so he sat probably for 12 minutes with 4 fouls on the bench. But to me, the turning point in the game was Duke missed a shot. Ball came out to Grayson Allen. He went up like he was going to shoot a 3. Nate closed out on him, passed it to Luke Kennard in the corner. And Kennard goes up, knocks down the 3, and then Nate Britt got called for the foul as he went over to challenge him. And there was no foul there. So it was a 4-point play. Kennard obviously finished it. It got them going. Tatum's dunk down the middle lane was a pretty big play. Obviously, the alley-oop to Harry Giles was a big play. There's a lot of big plays in there, but to me, the turning point of it all, and Coach K said it in the press conference that he thought as well, the kind of turning point of the game was that made 3 and the foul called for a 4-point play. And the worst part is it was a bad call. There was, and again, I'm not blaming the refs completely. I think the refs made some mistakes. Obviously, our offense was just off in the second half. We did not have the same rhythm. We were not attacking. We were not getting the ball inside. We took some bad shots. We missed some easy shots, even when Joel was in there. He missed a layup when he came back with his 4 fouls. He missed a layup they got fouled on, but he should have just made it. Justin Jackson was missing his floater. We only hit 5 out of 22 threes in the game. That's obviously going to affect it. We let them make 10 out of 17. So they shot 50% for the game. They shot 59% from 3. And then obviously, we talked about the fouls piling up. They shot 33 out of 37 for free throws. Some of those were fouling late in the game, and they're getting some. But even if you take 8 of those away, they made or shot at least 29 free throws then. We shot 18. We shot 14 for 18. We were pretty good percentage wise, but overall we shot 41% for the game. And here's the thing: we shot 56% from the field in the first half. We shot 29% in the second half for 41 for the game. We shot 23% from three, again to their 59% from three. And we held them. They shot 43% from the field in the first half. They jumped up to 59% in the second half. It's not going to get it done. So we didn't shoot the ball well. You can't blame just the refs. There was also a big stretch when Joel was out that Kennedy sat. And at first, I was thinking, oh, he must have 3 fouls. He's sitting a while. But then he sat too long that even 3 fouls wouldn't matter because, you're not going to use those fouls if you're just sitting on the bench and, whatever. He came back in the game. He only had 2 fouls. And he was in for pretty much a play, and then he came back out. I said, oh, he's doing offense-defense with him. But, there's no reason to. He wasn't in foul trouble. If he's not going to be able to guard, don't play him anyway. It's kind of a strange lineup we had there. Obviously, Nate had to be out there. But there was a stretch. It was like Nate and Brandon Robinson. I think Justin Jackson was out there. But then it was like Tony Bradley and even like Luke Kennard. Maybe Isaiah was in there for a little bit. But there was like nobody that could make, Theo can kind of create his own shot. And it was, just a little bit strange after seeing Seventh Woods for longer stretches. Not yesterday's game anymore, but Friday's game, we talked about how good of minutes we were getting from the bench, even if the stats weren't there. Brandon Robinson, Seventh Woods, Luke May, that kind of stuff. Seventh Woods played 2 minutes in this game. I don't know. He's either ready or he's not. Obviously, Duke game is played at a different level, but Brandon Robinson had 6 minutes, just 2 fouls, missed 1 shot. Luke May fouled out, just played 7 minutes. So again, it's some of those, refs calling stuff and we're not adjusting. But just not a good second half for us at all. Obviously, we don't want that going into the NCAA tournament, coming off a bad half. But we do have, not quite a week, but almost a week here now to get things straight, get things ready, and it's a 6-game series or season right now, or at least hopefully 6. That's the max, but it's win or go home, and these guys know it. They've been there. Now we just need to not have a half like this again. Good news is we don't play a team like this. You remember the last part of our schedule was Virginia twice, Duke twice, Louisville, and then we came into the ACC tournament. Miami is a good team. And then obviously Duke. We're not going to see a team like this until Sweet 16 at the earliest, if not the Elite 8. But as far as stats goes, like I said, we were supposed to shut down one of either Tatum or Kennard. Tatum ended up with 24, so he had a little bit off of a second half after scoring 18 in the first half. But 24 points, 7 rebounds. Luke Kennard ended up with 20 points. He was 10 for 10 from the free throw line. And that's a shooter. I mean, what's he getting to the free throw line 10 times? Again, some of those are late in the game, but still, just we can't have that. Frank Jackson had 15 for him, and then Grayson Allen, 5 threes, 18 points, 5 assists as well. We can't have really those 4 guys going off, but even we can't have those 3 in Grayson and Luke and Jason all going off. Harry Giles gave them really good minutes. His stats are not going to look like, the number 1 prospect or a top 5 recruit coming in, 6 points, 7 rebounds in 15 minutes. But for him, what he's been doing this year, also 4 blocks, which we're not going to get into that. But, those 15 minutes for him, what he's given them so far this year, those 15 minutes were huge tonight. So, we just can't have that. We can't have the way we shot. There's so many things in there. I thought, Kennedy sat too much. Kennedy had a double-double a couple minutes into the second half. I know I looked up, there was like 16 minutes left. He had 17 points, like 11 rebounds already, and then ended up with 19 points and 12 rebounds. 6 of them were offensive. Like I said, good game from Kennedy, but the second half wasn't there, and a lot of it is the stretch he sat on the bench. I don't know. I'm not trying to question a Hall of Fame coach. I'm definitely not calling for Roy Williams to be fired like a lot of people do when we lose, and especially when we lose to Duke. But crazy. Isaiah Hicks, another good game. I did a Periscope walking around Barclays Center before the game, a couple hours before the game, whatever, and was kind of asking if we win the tournament, who should be MVP, and Isaiah Hicks probably would have been. I mean, 19.7 rebounds here, 7 for 7 from the free throw line again, shot 6 for 9 overall. Great tournament for Isaiah, and so hopefully that continues now into the NCAA tournament for him. Justin Jackson struggled shooting. He struggled pretty much this whole tournament. And Roy said in the post-game press conference, which I also periscoped a little bit of until my phone died because I'm a rookie and didn't take my portable charger with. So I apologize for that if you were watching the periscope. But ended up with 16 points, but shot 6 for 22, 3 for 11 from three-point line. But yeah, Roy said in the press conference that he thinks he's pressing too much, putting too much pressure on himself. Probably after winning the ACC Player of the Year award, just thinks he has to do too much. And then with Joel obviously going out with 4 fouls, yeah, probably just was trying too hard. So hopefully he can fix that. I mean, just think about the things that we could have done better. Obviously, we could have won this, but how we're still there. We lost by 10, but obviously we don't foul late. We probably could have lost by 6, 7 points or whatever. Joel Berry did end up with 10 points, but yeah, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, nothing else much there. 0 for 3 from the three-point line. Theo Pinson just 4 points, but he did have 8 assists. Played a pretty good game there. Nate Britt with 24 minutes off the bench, again because of Joel's foul trouble, gave us 8 points. Tony Bradley, 4 points, all in the first half. And that's the thing. It just dropped off in the second half. We didn't get anything really off the bench. Obviously, Nate played a lot of minutes, gave us a few things there, but just didn't get much from our bench this game. And again, I mentioned this last podcast, but that Duke, or maybe it was the last time we played Duke in that podcast, but they can't talk about depth and stuff. They had 7 guys play double-figure minutes. We had 7 guys play double-figure minutes. So our 8th is probably usually Luke, who couldn't do it because he kept fouling or kept getting called for fouls. But yeah, heartbreaking loss. The thing that we can take from it as Tar Heel fans is the last 2 national championships, the 2 that Roy won, we lost in the semis of the ACC tournament. So good omens there. Maybe because maybe I can't go to any more Duke Carolina games because now I'm 0 for 1 watching Duke Carolina. But also, what was I going to say now? Oh, maybe I was really confident coming into this game. I thought Duke playing 3 games in 3 days, they were going to be tired. That we looked so good against Miami. But yeah, there's something about this obviously rivalry. There's something. About the tournament, they want to be apparently the first team to win the ACC tournament, playing 4 games in 4 days, and they were up for the challenge, and yeah, got the right stuff from the right people at the right times, which we did in the first half. We did what we needed to do or what we were supposed to do, and just couldn't continue it. Good or bad, the refs took us out of the game, or I shouldn't say they took us out of the game. We allowed ourselves to be taken out of the game because of what the refs were doing, and you just can't let that happen. You don't know what kind of refs you're going to get in the NCAA tournament or what kind of calls and stuff. You got to keep playing the game. That's what good teams and great teams do. And so, yeah, we gotta make sure we do that. But yeah, last year we won the regular season. We won the ACC tournament and almost pulled it off. Hopefully this year losing in the semifinals is a good omen. We can go and win 6 games here to win the national title. That's the goal. That's what Roy has said. That's what the guys have said. Justin's got to come out of his funk. He took a lot of the blame in the post game when he was talking in the locker room. It was all, this one's on me. I got to do better. And again, that's kind of like what Roy was saying. He's putting that pressure on him. Which is good, but then, you also can't just take it so much that it affects the next game. You got to let it go, and hopefully he's got enough time here that that happens. Isaiah can stay out of foul trouble. He had 4 in this game, but it wasn't like he didn't play less minutes because of foul trouble in this game. Excuse me, but yeah, maybe I was too overconfident and then jinxed us in that sense. But I apologize for that. I doesn't look like I'll be at any more Tar Heel games that I know of for the rest of this season. So hopefully they take that and run with it. But this was a great experience for me. Um, knocked off 2 things off my bucket list by going to the ACC tournament and seeing a Duke Carolina game in person. A lot of great experiences, getting to interview Seth Greenberg. I last night before the game got a picture with Jones and Adam Lucas, Jones Angel, the best podcasters there are, especially for Carolina. And it was great because I said, hey, I need a picture of the best podcasters, and it was just Jones. He's like, well, let's wait for Adam then. And we were talking, and I introduced myself. We say, oh yeah, I know that name for Twitter. So that maybe he's completely lying, but pumped up the ego there a little bit that he'd actually heard my name on Twitter, recognized it. Maybe he's just saying that, but yeah, it was awesome. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe we can get him on the podcast as a guest. Jones, if you're listening out there, you're welcome anytime. Adam, same for you. But then also got my picture with Jones and Eric Montross, the radio guys. That was awesome. I got to meet Corey Alexander, took a picture with him. Got to see Antoine Jameson inducted into ACC Legends. Went to the ACC Legends reception. Got a good picture of Antoine there. Let's see, what else? I feel like I'm missing something, but yeah, so many good things here, and this is definitely a trip I won't forget. Whether that's good or bad, because obviously we lost to Duke, I don't know, but a lot of great memories here. But yeah, before we end this, of course, we got to look at the NCAA tournament. Selections come out tomorrow, so I'm not going to talk about it too much here. But right now, we're still projected as a 1 seed. As far as everybody talking on TV, it seems like we'll be a 1 seed. The thing that scares me as far as any changes to that would be if Oregon today in the Pac-12 championship goes out and blows out Arizona, that they might move Oregon up and move us down to a 2 seed. Maybe that means we'll go to Gonzaga's bracket as a 2 seed and the easiest 1 seed, a lot of people would say. I don't know, but again, right now we're still projected as a 1 seed. That, of course, bodes well for us if we want to make a Final Four and championship run. We just got to take care of business. Like I said, we got to go back. We got to prepare. We got to play better defense than we did in the second half. Well, really, the whole game for Duke, we didn't play that great a defense, but especially the second half, we got to get our offense clicking, get everybody clicking together, and I mean, really, like I said, we're not going to see a team of somebody of this caliber until we get Sweet 16 at the earliest, probably the Elite 8, and so then by then you're talking win an Elite 8 game, you're in the Final Four. Anything can happen in the Final Four, but then we got 2 more games to get people clicking and bring home another title. That's of course the goal here. But yeah, this is a year where there's a lot of teams that could some people say that every year. Really, I think there's about 5, 6 teams in most years. Some years there's less. Some years there's I think the year Kentucky won it and Kendall Marshall got hurt, I think it was between us two that was going to win that title. Kendall got hurt, Kentucky won it. There's some years where it's 3, 4 teams. I think most years it's about 5 or 6 teams that can win it. This year, I think there's more than that. I think if you look at Pac-12 even, I mean, I don't know if I believe in UCLA, but Arizona and Oregon, you got Kansas, you got Duke, the way they're playing right now. I don't know that Kentucky, if I would put them in there, but there's obviously us. Let's see, I don't know that Virginia, I'd put them up in there. Louisville, I think they could go on a run and win it. Let's see, who else am I missing? I don't know that a Big Ten team could win it. They are not doing so well. I feel like I'm missing a couple more there. So probably 7, 8, maybe 9 teams this year that could probably win it. So it's a different kind of year. But yeah, tomorrow we get our brackets. We can start filling them out, getting into the groups. Would love to do a group for the podcast here, and so make sure you hit me up. Send me a DM on Twitter or email or whatever. Asking for you to get the information to enter the group for the podcast bracket challenge. Don't have a prize, so it'll probably be bragging rights to the winner. There's no prize to win, but yeah, hit me up. And I will try to get, especially if a lot of people contact me, but we'll get a group together for the podcast and see who is the best at predicting tournament games out of people that listen to UNC Hoops Talk. And we'll unite Tar Heel Nation a little bit more as we go, as that is the motto of this podcast. But probably gone long enough. Time to go get over this depressed feeling of losing to Duke and watching it in person. I'm glad that you have come along on me in this journey as far as the podcast goes. This ACC tournament that's been so fun. Keep looking for more content. I got, like I said, Rick Berry interview today that will go up on YouTube as well as onto the podcast feed for all the podcast apps. And as we go forward, we'll keep going. I'll podcast sometime next week before the tournament goes to reveal my bracket and talk about the tournament. And yeah, we'll go from there as the tournament goes on, and we'll keep cheering on our Tar Heels. So until I talk to you again, go Heels.